When I was a kid, I wanted to be a boy so that I could grow up to be a cowboy. But afterwards, I realised that that wasn't possible. I mean, so I'm a spiritual cowboy, maybe.
When I came to Greece many years ago, it was to teach English at a frontisterio. Every Sunday I was free and would take a bus into the countryside and try to walk over mountains or swamps or wilderness of any kind until I got back to another village. This was how I got into the habit of wandering about lost in the mountains. But the fact is, I liked being lost.
Every day I see her, in my head I hear her kind and lovely voice. But when I try to reach her, I stumble and I fall. I guess I am in love. All my friends through me tell me I look gloomy. Who are they to judge?
Every day I try to take quite a lot of exercise, and if I don't take any exercise, I immediately get headaches and things like that. In the evening, I go and walk around the Limnothalassa there, just to get some exercise and to see and to watch birds, because I'm interested in the birds.
Tell me I'm your man, and I will climb the highest mountain. Take me by the hand, let me kiss you by your ear. Give me what you got, give me death or give me pain, my dear.
I was looking for a horse, and I didn't know really where to start, so I had a look on the internet and I did a search for horses in Greece.
When I was 3, I went for my first riding lesson, and I can even remember the pony. I mean, it was called Sooty. I was involved with horses most of my life until I went to university, and then I sold my pony, and then I was a teacher in London, and then I came to Greece, so I got involved with a riding school then. I suppose horses have been most of my life since then.
And I came across an article by Penny, and it was in the Irish Trotting website, and it had an email address, and I thought, okay, this lady sounds really nice. I'll write and ask her.
I must say I'm probably the most unpopular person in the village, but, you know, I can't really do much about it now. In that case, I shall do as many things as I can for the environment. So I go to Mykaniono, to the Dimarchio, and complain about pollution. I go and put pressure on them to do things. I go every day and check whether people are going to shoot things that they shouldn't shoot, and all this kind of stuff. So, of course, it doesn't make me popular at all.
Every day I dream her, in my sleep I see her pale and creamy face. But when I try to touch her, I wake up and I fall. I guess I'm just a fool.
Basically, what I have to do when I'm not on a long ride is try to get enough money to go on a long ride. So any way that I can make money, I do. Usually, once or twice a year, I get a translation to do. Somebody might want an actual poem translated. I also like to do translations for the various environmental non-government organisations that there are in Greece. So I've done work for nearly all of them at one time or another.
Baby, I'm in love, and I don't think it's wrong to give my heart to you. Tell me I'm your man, and I will climb the highest mountain. Take me by the hand, let me kiss you by your ear.
Sometimes I think I ought to get a proper job, and so that I'm not always either desperately trying to get money or not having any money. And if I had a steady job, but then if I had a steady job, I wouldn't be free to do things that interest me.
You're just a ghost I love, like your little ghost I love, the girl I adore, I love, sweet Valentine.
I used to be an examiner. I'm not for the English exams. I'm not anymore because I got bored with it. Sometimes I give English lessons, but not very often because I got bored with that as well.
I think I see Penny as the ultimate pioneer. You know, I think there's nowhere that she wouldn't go on George, quite honestly, given the opportunity. She'd go on horseback anywhere in the world.
Ο Γιώργος ο Μαρινόπουλος στην Αδραβίδα λοιπόν μαζί με μια γυναίκα από την Αγγλία η οποία μένει στη χώρα μας και εδώ και 6 χρόνια κάνει το γύρο της Ελλάδας. Με ένα άλογο βεβαίως, έτσι.
Πριν από 2 χρόνια ένα απόγευμα...
Ήταν έτσι σούροπο, είχε βραδιάσει λίγο.
Είχε μουσγώσει ήδη. Έπιανε η νύχτα.
Ήταν μεσημεράκι και...
Α, ήταν κρύο, θυμάσαι.
Την ήβρα ακριβώς σε ένα σημείο εδώ πιο πάνω με τ' άλογο.
Κατεβαίνοντας από το βουνό με ένα άλογο κόκκινο.
Την είδα από μακριά πριν το νεκροταφείο.
Δεν πιστεύαμε στα μάτια μας. Και έρθει τώρα στο άλογο πάνω, άμα λέω τι έγινε.
Ένα άλλο φανταστικό.
Πέρασε μέσα από το χωριό και βγήκαν όλοι από τα καφενεία.
Μαζεύτηκε πολλοί κόσμος, ας πούμε.
Σου λέω, παιδάκι μου, λέω, πού κοιμάσαι, λέω, μην κοιμάσαι μέσα στην ερημιά.
Όχι, θα έρθεις μέσα, όχι, θα καθίσω έξω, έλεγε η ψυχή.
Όχι, λέει, ευχαριστώ πολύ, δεν έρχομαι, γιατί το άλογο φοβάται μόνο του.
I usually try not to sleep in villages, because you have to talk to people such a lot. In Corfu, there's a lot of taxi drivers who have got horse taxis. So I went to see those guys and I said, you know, anybody got any horses for sale? And they said, oh yes, Kyriou Yosifi has got a horse and it's really some horse. And it was George, he was on a tether and he was very tubby and looked really well and he was obviously extremely friendly and he loved people and he was a really lovely horse.
Είχαμε εντυπωσιαστεί βασικά από το άλογο.
Πολύ μεγάλο άλογο, πολύ ωραίο άλογο.
Thank you.
Το οποίο τραβούσε μια γυναίκα η οποία φορούσε ένα κράνος.
He's a very stubborn animal and he's very self-willed and he's actually not very sensitive, so he will always test everything to the limit. And you know, when you're trying to put his stuff on, he won't stand still. He will stand still when I'm riding him so that I can get off, because he's realised that the only way to get rid of this great fat rider is to stand still. Otherwise I just stay there. And one other time he stood still was when I fell over in a river and he just stood there so that I could get hold of his leg and pull myself up. Otherwise I'd have drowned, wouldn't I? Yeah.
Γιατί ο ντόρος που έγινε στην περιοχή όπου περνούσε εκεί και εδώ ήταν το άλογο. Το πρώτο είναι το άλογο και ένα άλλο. Το πρώτο μιλάγανε το άλογο και μετά για την περίπτωση.
I started near Kalamata at the beginning of March. And roughly, this is the route I took. And then to Svorona that way, there.
That particular journey she wanted to do this challenge of riding. I think she had to ride something like 1,600 kilometers to become a member of the Long Riders Association.
Από το Ποσειδώνα λοιπόν αυτή βγαίνει και βρίσκεται στα καλύβια.
Προς τη λίμνη, στα χωριά τα επόμενα διακόπη πενταγιούς και θα ανέβαινε προς τα πάνω.
Μου είπε θα πάει από Κροκύλιο, Άνω Χώρα. Ένα μέρος λέγεται Άνω Χώρα.
Από την Αγγελία Γεκάθη πάει στη Καστριώτισσα, του είχε ο χάρτης μέσα από τη Καστριώτισσα, από εκεί Σικούλα και από εκεί Σμενίδα.
Ανέβαινε από κάτω από τη λίμνη του Μόρνου, ανέβαινε προς τα πάνω και από ό,τι μας είπε θα συνέχιζε μετά προς την Τολοκαρνανία.
Παραλία, στην Πεταλέα και πάει στο Μαυροβούνι και πάει στο Αιγίδιο. Από το Αιγίδιο πάει στη Σκάλα. Τώρα αυτή γιατί πήγε στη Σκάλα είναι δική της δουλειά.
Γύρω-γύρω από τη Μάνη, από τη Λακωνική Μάνη και μετά θα ανέβαινε τον Ταΐγετο.
Ακολουθώντας εκ διαμέτρου αντίθετη κατεύθυνση από εκείνη από την οποία έπρεπε να πάρει. Δεν ξέρω τι έκανε.
Και λαϊδίστε, ωραία μου πουλάκια, και λαϊδίστε. Τραγουδίστε και λαϊδίστε, τραγουδίστε τον ωραίο σας σκοπό. Και λαϊδίστε, τραγουδίστε τον ωραίο σας σκοπό.
I went to the temple of the Oracle of Death. I went there because it's the temple of Poseidon, who is in charge of horses. Well, people say that Poseidon bought horses to Greece. So I thought, well, I will go there and I will ask Poseidon to look after George. When I got to, where was it? Areopolis. I stopped with George outside and I said, can I buy 7 or 8 kilos of barley, please? She just said, either take 25 kilos or take nothing. That I wanted to go to the mountain Lycio in Arcadia, where they had a cult to Zeus the wolf. The people who live there are supposed to be the most ancient tribes, and they believed that it was possible to become a werewolf. And Pausanias also believed the legend, at least, about this. We were going along a track, and so I stopped to give George some water, and I got off, and I heard somebody shouting from below. And then, he shot at us, and then he shot again. So I tied up George to a bush, and I went running down the hill towards where I heard the shot coming from. And I said, what do you think you're doing? Shooting at me. And the guy said, if I'd known that you were a woman, I wouldn't have shot at you. I really wanted to go to Stymphalia because
because of the legends again, that there were these birds there which had bronze beaks and talons and were extremely dangerous and very unpleasant.
I am very interested in eating sweet things, and I'm definitely addicted to carbohydrate, and I have terrible trouble controlling my eating habits. And that's one of the main reasons I go on rides, of course, because I can't get any food there, so I have to lose weight. Usually I eat some of that automatic soup that you just put boiling water in. It's very disgusting. There are different flavours, and I think that the curry flavour is probably the worst, and the tomato flavour is my favourite, so I save that for best.
It had snowed, so the mountains had got snow tops, and there was a storm coming.
You'd get texts to say, I'm somewhere in the mountains and it's snowing. I'm tucked into my sleeping bag, and I'd think, no, it sounds wonderful sitting here at home, but I don't think I want to swap places with you.
And so I had to travel from Stymfalia to Corinth. But I didn't want to stop anyway because they had just sprayed everything with herbicide at that time. And it was just, the air was poisoned, everything was poisoned. It was just awful. From Corinth, I then went to try and cross the canal at the time that I had decided to do it. So I got there, and it was a swing bridge. And when the cars came, they made a noise on the bridge. It kind of made a knocking sound, and George just freaked out totally, and he was just beside himself. He was just insane.
Yuck.
We're coming up from Delphi along the ancient road that's more than 3,000 years old, which goes through olive groves, which are absolutely fabulous. George needed a break, and so did I. So I thought, well, we'll stop at Amphis anyway. And we found a hotel. And the guy who had the hotel was very, very good to us.
Το άλογο το άφησε έξω από την πόλη. Πήγε να το έπαιρνε, του κουβαλούσε μόνη τη στροφή. Προσφερθήκαμε να τη βοηθήσουμε, ό,τι ήθελε. Αυτή δεν ήθελε να υποχωρηθεί σε κανένα. Ήταν τόσο κοντά και τόσο μακριά από τον καθένα.
George was so happy because there was cars and people, and he had lots of people visiting him all the time.
Μαζεύτηκε πολλοί κόσμος, ας πούμε. Τρομερή εντύπωση. Θα κάνω πρωτότυπο για την Άμμυσα, παρόλο που δεν είναι μεγάλη πόλη, αλλά δεν έχουμε, ας πούμε, άλογο εδώ και τέτοια.
The place that I had really wanted to go to most of all was the mountain Giona,
because it's right in the middle of Greece, but it's supposed to be completely wild. I knew that the maps wouldn't be accurate, and so I knew that I would be lost quite a lot of the time.
Εχλήπους. Πολλούς άμα μείνετε ζωντανά έξω το βράδυ, πάμε. Τα χάσαμε. Λέω, πού κοιμάσαι, λέω, μην κοιμάσαι μες στην ερημιά και ο λύκος, ξέρεις, το άλογο το κυνηγάει. Τα πιάνει από εδώ το μουτσούνα και το σκάει το άλογο. Ο λύκος.
Anyway, we were kind of wandering about on this mountain and trying to get somewhere. And we kept going up and down paths, and then mist came and I couldn't see where I was at all. And then it started to rain and snow. It was just awful. Suddenly the mist cleared and I saw a huge lake. So I got my map and I looked to see if there was a lake, and there was a lake. It's the lake that is made by, it's an artificial lake made by damming the river Mornos, which meant we weren't anywhere where I thought we were at all. Of course, it broke my heart to leave Giona. And nothing on the trip after that had what Yiannis got. And on our way to Ambrakikos is where we went to Valmada. That's where I met the guys who drove me away from the village that led there. Yeah, I did tell you about that.
Το άλογο να δέσω να έχει χόρτο, να φάει. Όχι, όχι, λέει αυτό, τα φύγεις. Φοβάντανε.
Well, look. He said, you'll put your horse in our paddock, it's here, and you'll stay in our house for the night. And he said that his name was Manthos, and that he was very sorry that I'd been thrown out of the village. And I tied George up and I came into the house and I was so tired, because normally I don't go into people's houses because I'm too smelly.
Ήταν κρύο, θυμάσαι, σου έλεγε να καθίσεις έξω η ψυχή και δεν την άφησε.
I've been on the road for 2 weeks and I haven't been able to wash except with cold water and everything. I don't want to go in their house, but I was just so tired.
Όχι, θα έρθεις μέσα, όχι, θα καθίσω έξω, έλεγε η ψυχή.
In the morning, Timia was cooking me some breakfast.
Πώς?
Τηγανίτες, λέει, πω, τηγανίτες, πώς κάνετε, λέει, τηγανίτες.
Και να τρώει, και να φτιάνω εγώ ένα σματιέμι με το λάδι και αυτή να και να τρώει, και να τρώει. Σ' άρεσαν τόσο πολύ. Δεν ήξερε τι είναι τηγανίτες.
But I had, of the 3 places that I had decided I wanted to see, Ambrakikos was the third, because some friends of mine who are very interested in birds had told me that it is one of the best places in Greece to see birds. And when we got to Menidi, there was a boy came, and he said, you know, this is the most beautiful horse I've seen. I said, yeah, he's very nice, isn't he? And he said, my friend's got a hotel with grass outside, and I'm sure he would like your horse to go there. So I said, okay, show me.
Μου λέει για δωμάτιο. Του λέω, υπάρχει αυτή τη στιγμή. Οπότε βλέπω ακριβώς να συνοδεύεται με κάποια κυρία πάνω στο άλογο. Έμεινα.
I stayed there in that room for 3 days until because I just thought, I can't go on, I just feel so ill. And to get to Katerini, I looked at the map and it just seemed so far away. So I phoned up home and I said, I can't get any further, I'm so tired and I feel so ill. And they said, well, look, just get another 100 miles and then you'll have gone 1,000 miles and then a lorry can come and get you. That'll be all right.
Διάβαζε συνήθως ή έγραφε Της άρεσε να βλέπει μέρη, να μιλάει με τον κόσμο.
After 3 days, I felt okay. And so we set off for the last bit. And we're miles from anywhere. And suddenly, I heard somebody shouting at me, you know, really shouting loudly and rudely, "There's a bomb! There's a bomb!" And I said, "What are you talking about?" And he said, "There is a bomb, woman! Go away!" And I said, "How do you know?" And he said, "I put it there!" And there was this enormous explosion. I mean, huge. I mean, and half of the mountain on the other side just fell down into the valley like that. And I found this guy and I said, "What are you doing? Exploding mountains?" And he said, "To improve the road." Why is it necessary to blow up half the mountain to improve a road that you know nobody uses, and that's why you blow it up?
I think Penny's an amazing lady. I've never met anybody quite like Penny. She seems to be totally fearless. The fact that she can go alone with George over mountains and where there are, you know, known to be bandits and all sorts of things that could happen to you. A woman on her own. I think she's remarkably brave.
Of course, you know, there are reasons to be afraid, but I try not to do that. If you've got a mobile with you, you always feel that somebody can rescue you. And I don't feel as if I ought to take with me things that mean that I believe I'll need to be rescued. As we were going up this river into the Pindos, I knew that I was 30 kilometres from having done 1,000 miles, so I was very happy. And we're going along, and we got onto a small asphalt road. There was no other road, so we had to go on it. And at the side of the road, there was a big posh hotel. And I thought, right, that's it. We're going to stay in this hotel because, you know, to celebrate there. And they had a room, and it was all wonderful. Then I phoned up home, and I said, "We've done it. We've done 1,000 miles. We've done this many kilometres." And he said, "No. That many kilometres is not 1,000 miles. You've got to go another 40 kilometres before you've done 1,000 miles. Oh. And then the next day was the day that I actually did the 1,000 miles. And what was wonderful was that when we had travelled about 40 kilometres, I found in the side of the road there was these newts. And I thought, well, you know, actually that's better than a hotel, and, you know, to celebrate. They were just like little jewels. They were fantastic. Seeing those was like big reward, really. When we got near to Descartes, George knew we were near home because we'd been in Descartes on other rides, and he knew. And so he just started to say, you know, right, we're going home. And he just went for it. And, you know, so in a couple of days from there we were home.
Αυτά για την Penny και να της δώσετε πολλά χαιρετίσματα και όταν έρθει στην Αθήνα να έρθει να με βρει. Θα σας δώσω την διεύθυνσή μου και το τηλεφωνό μου να έρθει να με βρει.
Άντε στο καλό σας, καλό ταξίδι και πολλά χαιρετήματα και φιλιά.
Η Πιπί και ο... Πώς το λέει, δεν το λέει εγώ, αλλιώς το κάπως το λέει το άλλο.
I come in scary nights, I speak a bunch of lies, and I walk between these lies. I have my friend with me. A kiss, a broken dream, and oh please, would you turn those lights?
I think dream is okay. I'd like to dream of doing something like that, but I know actually I have not got the courage or the guts.
Well, the reason I bother to do all this is a bit hard to understand even for me. I resent people who think they can just deprive us of those things. It just means that people in the future won't be able to see any of these beautiful things, and that seems to me awful. I mean, it seems a sin to deprive future generations of the beautiful things that we can see. And also, I think that's, you know, part of the reason I go on these journeys with the horse. It's the same thing, because there's all these fantastic, wonderful, amazing things. And people are just taking them away from us. And I think that, well, they should be stopped. That's it.
Goodbye, my love. Goodbye, my love. Goodbye, my love. Goodbye, my love. Addio. Addio, καρδιά μου. Addio, καρδιά μου.